is The Herd. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, we are live in Los Angeles on iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. Joy Taylor is joining me. Packed, actually, today. A lot of football stuff today. A lot of NFL news. Breaking stuff is happening all over the league. Peyton Manning involved in some of it. Joy, how are you?
I'm great. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. You know, all teams in sports, they want you to believe their team is different. Our team is guttier. Our team is smarter. We got better players. Everybody's trying to tell me and remind me and convince me their team is different. And I'm watching Toronto and Milwaukee, and they're the same team. One's in Canada. One's over in Milwaukee. They're the same team. Both have one star, Giannis in Toronto, in Milwaukee, and Kawhi Leonard in Toronto, and they bring it every night. That doesn't mean they don't have off nights where their shooting percentage doesn't dip or they miss a free throw or two. And then every night, whichever star, Kawhi with the Raptors or Giannis with Milwaukee, can get a second guy to play a little over his head, that team wins. Let's go back to game one. Brook Lopez was great. Brook Lopez generally isn't great. But Brook Lopez in game one for Milwaukee had a huge fourth quarter. His hair was on fire. He had 29 points. He hit 4 threes. Oh, and Milwaukee won because Giannis got a second guy to play over his head. Then in game two, Milwaukee, Ilyasova plays really well. Plus 22, 7 of 11 from the field. Plays a little over his head, and Milwaukee wins game two. And Kawhi's thinking, I need guys to step up for me. Then we go to game three in Canada. Oh, what do you know? Pascal Siakam, 25 points, plus 12, big night. Hit some key baskets in the second half. Kawhi gets a guy to play a great playoff game, and he wins. And then last night, what do you know? Kyle Lowry, wildly inconsistent in the playoffs, is 25 points, 10 for 10 at the free throw line, 6 for 11 field goals, and Kawhi gets the guy to play over his head in the playoffs, and now the series is tied at 2-2. See, that's the difference. Golden State knows what they get every night from a bunch of guys. Steph gives you 30 now. And Clay's going to give you 20 now. And Draymond Green's going to give you incredible energy and probably give you a 15, 9, and 8 every night. And Andre Iguodala is going to give you something really good defensively, late situationally. And I'm not even counting Kevin Durant, who would be guaranteed money. These are the same team. Giannis is driving to the arena every night in this series, crossing his fingers, hoping inconsistent Chris Middleton steps up big. Or Eric Bledsoe, who averaged 16 in the regular season and now is averaging 8 in this series. And Kawhi's driving from his apartment in Toronto, getting to the arena and crossing his fingers that Siakam, Lowry, somebody, although he never knows who it's going to be, can play great. And by the way, this is precisely why stars team up. So they don't have to drive to the arenas, crossing their fingers, not really sure who's going to step up. Steph never has that issue, even with Kevin Durant out, even with Boogie Cousins out. He knows what he's getting from Draymond. He knows what he's getting from Clay. You know what the NBA playoffs are? They're a lie detector. That's what they are. A lot of people are telling you there's something. Hey, I can be great. But are you just great for a game like Brook Lopez, or can you be great for a series like Kawhi? Lie detector goes off. Are you really in shape, or are you in playoff shape, James Harden? You tell me you're clutch. Yeah, maybe Tuesday night in Sacramento. But are you clutch at the free throw line? Are you clutch in crisis deep into a playoff game? Who's really a star and just has a night like a star? These are a big lie detector test, and Toronto and Milwaukee fans are trying to convince you they're special and they're different, and it's the same team. Outside of Kawhi and Giannis, you're just crossing your fingers, and it's a different number 2 every night. Who's going to show up and play over their head and elevate me to a win? And in 4 straight games, the star that got that won the game, and that's why they're tied. They're the same team. All right, here's the latest rumor on Kevin Durant. He's a big deal. Now the Clippers and the Knicks are equally dangerous to sign the Warriors star. I was told yesterday, before the show, I got a text that Brooklyn's in it. And so Rich Kleiman is his agent. And Rich Kleiman yesterday was talking and Wall Street Journal, and here's what he said.
What you're saying is that this has not been decided. There's no hidden handshake agreement.
No.
With the New York Knicks?
No.
No, nothing like that?
No.
Okay. All right.
That is 100% undecided. And I'm waiting on Kevin, you know? That's the truth. I think there's a feeling that this thing is like war games and everybody's kind of like...
playing a role.
Yeah, playing chess like years out. But when somebody gets to the level of basketball that he's at, you can't juggle focus like that. There's so many things he's juggling too. He's not scripting his future while he's playing the way he plays and practices the way he practices.
LeBron's moved 3 times. Didn't Cleveland going back take us by surprise? I know for a fact he didn't know he was going to Miami until 48 hours or 24 hours out. I mean, I've moved 4 times in my career. 3 of the 4, 72 hours out, I was undecided. This move was the only one I knew in advance. And that was a lot of family stuff. But I keep hearing that he's locked in on this team and locked in on that team. So let's line up the places where I'm told he really likes. And you tell me, would you have a little indecision? Let's talk about the New York Knicks. Remember, 100%. And I've been told it's 100%. By a current player and a former player. Okay, the owner's bad with the Knicks. The roster's weak. The recent history is awful. And oh, by the way, he could make more money in Golden State than the Knicks. You don't think you're going to have some doubts about that? Well, let's talk about the Clippers. Roster, mostly guys, role players. History, do I have to explain the history of the Clippers? Brand, second biggest team in their own arena. What about Jerry West? Okay, what about him? He's 81 next week. They're not rolling together. Okay, let's size up the Brooklyn Nets, because that's the one I'm hearing now, Brooklyn Nets. Once again, they're a little brother, second biggest brand in their own city. They have an owner from overseas, and the Nets are about his 8th biggest business. And if he does attract KD, it'll be his 3rd reboot in about 6 years. They have 3 winning seasons in 12. And oh, by the way, if they were going to land Anthony Davis, am I wrong here? They'd basically have to trade the entire roster. You telling me Knicks, Clippers, and Brooklyn, I don't have some worries and concerns and doubts about those franchises? What about the Lakers? What about the Lakers? Have you seen their organizational flow chart? It looks like a poorly constructed spider web. And by the way, the team, I'm assured that he's leaving. This one, there's no chance he stays. The Golden State Warriors, let me remind you of the last several years and the images. 3 of them with Golden State. Parades, MVP trophies, and rings. And that's the one you're assuring me has no chance to keep him. I don't really buy that. And let me throw this little wrench into it. Whereas LeBron James, somebody that Kevin Durant has at least deep respect for, admiration for, used to practice together, especially years ago. Whereas LeBron, by moving to Miami and winning titles, accelerated player mobility. Could I not argue this disastrous move to the Lakers has pumped the brakes for everybody's player mobility? LeBron could be the guy that accelerated it and stopped it. So this idea, everybody knows where Kevin Durant's going. There's a reason this is the 6th different report on Kevin Durant's destination. And I'm not Kevin Durant, but I've moved a lot. And in 3 or 4 of my moves, you get the yellow pad out, pro, con, yes, no. It's hard. It is hard. And the one you keep assuring me has no shots, the one all I get's parades, trophies, and rings. And that's the one we know he's not staying at. because I still contend that's the best place for him. Never forget, Marcus Thompson just wrote a book on KD as close to him as any media member. Never forget what he told us a month ago.
I'm not buying that at the last moment he's sitting at a meeting with somebody and he can't be swayed. Either way, to stay or go. Because
that's his personality.
Yeah. He could think it's done right now, whether that's staying or going. I still think later on, like, he can be swayed. Like, he's a guy, he feels everything. He sits in the room. He's present. He's got to weigh this stuff. We still have 3 or 4 more series if they win a championship of data to insert into this equation, right? Like, I don't know if even if he thinks he knows the answer, I don't think he knows the answer. I'm not buying it.
So the story this morning, the Clippers are in it. What I was told yesterday morning before the show, Brooklyn and Kyrie and KD are very much in it. I was told a week ago the Knicks were a done deal, and 3 weeks ago from a former MVP in the league, the Knicks were a done deal. And everybody keeps telling me LeBron still has a chance. Kevin Durant has not made up his mind. Coming up next, you ever see one of those studies? And it comes out, like, it's not as healthy to get less than 5 hours of sleep a night. And you're thinking to yourself, they needed a study for that? The Lakers are releasing their own sort of study, and I don't think we need to study to figure it out. That's coming up next. Plus, Kendrick Perkins, Cuttino Mobley, a great young 29-0 boxing talent. Keith Thurman stops by on our show today, fighting Pacquiao coming up fairly soon. Look, everybody is trying to eat a little healthier, but there's more choices out there, and it is hard to find the time to make the perfect omelet and the perfect breakfast and have the perfect lunch. So whatever's available, beat the traffic, get to work sooner. Listen, sometimes you make bad choices. Good news, though, there's Soylent. It is a complete meal in a bottle. 36 essential nutrients, 20 grams of plant protein, slow-burning carbs, so keeps you full, keeps the weight down. This is not a sacrifice flavor for a nutrition option. Comes in 7 delicious flavors. Cacao, vanilla, strawberry. I like their caffeine line, coffee and breakfast in one. So try to avoid skipping meals and eating crap because you don't have time. Just subscribe to Soylent.com.